Hi everyone. Today's presentation we're going to go through the WiSys Agility Explorer order processing functionality to help you know what's out there right out of the box. So as many of you know, WiSys started out with our main area of focus in WMS solution to streamline your warehouse and give you real-time inventory management. We developed an object library that we used to develop our product, and we made that available so that customers could also utilize the tools to create their own custom applications to transact their Macola data. But there's so much more that's out there right out of the box that gives you the power to work the way you want to and transact your transaction efficiently and without any customizations. So as our product has evolved, we have many applications in the standard Agility Explorer System Manager framework, and in the beginning these applications were done as examples to show our customers what could be done with the product. But we found out that many users were just using these right out of the box, and they were gaining great benefits and great efficiencies with these applications. So after hearing a lot of people say, wow, we didn't know that was out there and that makes it so much easier, why didn't you tell us about that sooner? We are working on raising awareness of what is in that base product and how you can use it today. So you can install it today, you can use it today, and it's going to bring immediate results to your company. So let's talk about what is the WiSys Agility suite of products. So you guys know that it's WMS, real-time inventory system, and we also have the tools out there that are used to customize your business and to allow you to design and develop your own applications or to have someone design them for you. But we also have the standard out-of-the-box functionality that helps you streamline many areas of your business. So if you look at the product today, we have the Agility Explorer, which is your desktop product, and that's the base framework that is installed on everyone's desktop that they use to run the Agility Explorer applications. We also then have the Agility Mobile, and that's used for the handheld applications for the WMS system. New, coming with 566, we will have the Agility Web Explorer, and that is designed to run Agility Explorer-like grids and processes to be run from a web interface. If you look at our tools, the Agility Design Studio is the tool that is used to work with Agility Explorer. And then Agility Form Studio is the tool that's used to design the Agility Mobile. And then Agility Design Studio will be used to design Agility Web Explorer products. So just to kind of give you guys an overview of what our products are and how they line up. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about the basic functions and the navigations and personalization, and then we're going to go through the order processing functions. So let's get started. One thing to keep in remember as we go through this is WiSys is version agnostic. We don't care if you're running progression. We don't care if you're running ES or EM10. WiSys looks the same, and it processes the back end for whatever version you happen to be on of Macola. So if you're on an older version and you upgrade, your WiSys system can still utilize your new system, and it will look exactly the same to your users. They won't have any idea of the changes to Macola if they're using WiSys. So the first area that we're going to take a look at is we're going to bring up the order status here. And I have opened up my Agility Explorer that's loaded on my desktop, and I am going to select my menu here, Order Processing. And when I select Order Processing, it's going to bring up all of my menu items that are here and available under Order Processing. These are standard applications right here. And so here I'm going to open the OE order status, and when I open this up, this is going to bring up a grid here, and you can see that over here on the right side I have a filter where I can enter in some basic filter criteria. I can enter it in by my dates, and then I can say what type of orders I want to see in my order status. I can check all, or I can select individual orders. And when I click OK, that's going to bring up all of my orders based upon that first criteria. So as I go through this and I look at my main screen here, you'll notice when I click on this particular order, as I go through this, down below here, I have a detailed screen. And my detailed screen down here is showing me what the line items are that are on that main order. So this is my main screen, and this is my detailed screen of the orders down below. You'll notice at the top here, I have my headings of each column and what they are, and then you'll notice here I have another filter row. So if I need to pull up particular orders, or if I'm trying to find a particular customer's order, just a customer, I could type 908 here, and this is going to do an additional filter for just those 908 customers. And you'll notice down here it built in this filter criteria of 908 here, right down here at the bottom. If I wanted to get rid of 908, I can either backspace in there, or I can click this X here and I can take the filter off. Another way to filter columns is if I put my mouse on the customer number here, you'll notice that I have my little filter here, and if I click on that, now I can choose, it'll give me a list of everything, and I can pick and choose them here and get multiple criteria. So once I have my data filtered, another thing that I can do is, right now this is sorted by my order number, but potentially maybe I want this sorted by the type of status that these orders are in. So if I click on this column, it's going to resort them based upon this particular status. If I want to undo that, I can make it resort on the order number, and you can see the sorting based upon the little arrow is going to show me that column is how I'm sorting. All right. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is I have the ability to add or remove columns here. So right now you can see that my data is kind of old, and I have some alerts we'll talk about here in a minute, but I have this earliest line request date, and if I don't use the earliest line request date, I can take that off of my screen. And to do that, I'm going to right click and I can choose remove this column. And if there's something else that I don't want on here, I can find that particular field, and maybe I don't want carrier count here because I'm trying to streamline this screen so it's more usable to me. I can remove all the columns that I want. If it looks like I'm missing a screen, I can come over here and I can do a column chooser, and all the fields that are available will show in this customization screen, and I drag them up and I add them to my screen. Once I have this, I very easily just can save this layout and make it a custom layout for my company. So up here are some of my options that we'll be going through, and I can go down here to my layouts and I can choose Save Layout As, and we always have a default layout that you can't change because it comes with WiSys and that's the standard, but you can make your layout and you'll notice here in my confirm ship, or under my order status screen here, I have your layout here and available. So if I close, and you'll notice my request date is here, gone, because I removed it. And if I close this screen and I open up just the order status, my earliest request date is still here. But if I open up the layout that I created, it's no longer here, and it's very custom to exactly what I want to see. And you can have multiple layouts for different areas of the business for how they like to look at it, for different users. That is all up to you as in how you define it. So as part of the order status here, this is one of our standard grids, and you'll notice that I have the ability here to choose an order button. So if I am on a particular order here, and I manage to drag my screen down, hold on here while I drag my lines back up here. And you'll notice here that I can click the order button, and it's also defaulted. I have the spyglass here so I can drill into this order. And so if I double click on this guy, it's going to bring up what we call the order dialog. This order dialog allows me to view everything and all the information about this order. So I can see here that I have my bill to, my ship to. I can look at my basic information, what's my ship via, my freight pay code. I can still see the line items on here. I can see any billing information, the current status, and if I have header comments, I can open up my header comments and see them there. If I have any auditing information here, I can open up the header audit, which, as we all know in Macola, it's pretty hard to run that report and read it, but I have an easy access to the order header. So now I can see all the things that happened to the order header as it went back and forth or it was transacted through the system. Down here is my line detail, and I can open up, if I need inventory transactions for this item, I have an inventory transaction button that will open up my transactions. Oops. If I want to look at the item master or the item location, I can select those and open that all up from within one screen in the system. So I can get to all the information from one place. Also, you'll notice that my buttons sometimes are and aren't active. If this was a bill of material item, my bill of material button would be lit. If I had a pop order, it would be lit. So these buttons are aware of what this item is and what's attached to it. This happens to be a binned item, and I have bins, so this bin button is lit. If this wasn't a bin item and I didn't have bins, this would not be available. So it helps the users kind of know more information about that also. You'll also notice I can have two screens up. So if I wanted to, if I have a dual monitor, I could drag this over to another screen and have this particular order number open. And you'll notice as I click through here, my order number information is changing. So I can have multiple screens up here and very easily see the order information in detail here. And once I'm done with this, I just click my X and I close the screen. So in order to close the screen, I close that one right there. The next area that we're going to take a look at is going to be the Pic Management Screen. So here we have the OE Pic Management, and again I have a filter here on my right to give me some base filtering. I'm choosing all dates in one particular location. I can do a lookup and I can manage all locations from here. And I have another grid where I have a main grid, and then down below I have a detailed grid. So in this Pic Management Screen, I have the ability to do a lot of different things. So not only can I print Pic tickets, and I can select them all and print them at once, I can view my orders. I can also change the quantities here. So one thing we didn't talk about is when I look at my grids and I see this, if I see a highlighted bold column name, that tells me that this is an edit field. And I have the ability to edit this quantity to ship here and change this quantity on hand. I also can view my items, and I can do all of that from my Pic screen. And then I can take a look and fill my back orders from this very same screen. I don't have to go to another application. So you'll notice here that I have some alerts and I have some shortages. These are standard alerts that are going to come up and tell me that I have some back-ordered items here. I also have a shortage alert on this screen that's telling me I don't have enough inventory on hand to bring this product to my customers. So you'll notice as I scroll down here through the screen, I can see various different alerts for my back orders and my shortages. If I wish to move quantity around, I can simply go in here and I can change this quantity. This is a back ordered. I'm going to use a fill back order on that. But if maybe I'm shipping 10 here and I want to give that to somebody else, I can come in here and change this quantity by entering in the quantity I want, and I can click Change Quantity. And I can see over here on my grid that I have a checkbox that tells me the transaction happened. So I know the checkbox or the transaction happened, and if I click my refresh button for my order 199 on this item, that is a BK, and I click refresh and scroll back down, where'd my order go here? Oh, it's here. Oh, there it is, because I'm unsorted here. And you'll notice that my quantity ordered here was 10, and this was also 10, but now it's set it to 5, and it's moved that into the back order. So it's made those order changes for me. Another thing that I can do is if I want to fill the back order and I can see that I have enough quantity on hand to fill a back order, I can simply come in here and I can check the box and for how many ever I wish to fill, and I click Fill Back Order, and it's filled it for just that particular order and that item. So I don't have to kind of fill through by all or none. I can fill based upon my rules that fit my scenario. One thing that you might do with fill back orders is I have the ability to group these and organize them, again, to however you may want to look at these particular orders. So if I want to group them, I can see on this screen that I don't have the grouping turned on. So I can come in here to my grouping by going into my grid, and I can choose a group by panel, and I can say group by the main. And so now I have turned this column on here that says this is my group by column, and I now have the ability to drag things up here and group them. So if I wanted to group them by order number, I simply click on my order number and hold my mouse down and drag this up and then drop it here. So I've grouped all of my orders together, and it's collapsed, and I can expand them and see what those orders are. And if I want to expand everything at once, back up here, I can right-click on my group by and choose Full Expand. So now I can see all of my orders easily grouped by order number, and that may help me make decisions on how I'm going to fill orders. So many customers, they may have user-defined fields, or they might have user-defined fields that they would want to group by. So I'm going to drag this guy back down here, and I don't have user-defined fields on here, but if I right-click here and I choose Column Chooser, and remember we talked about this in the last one, and I want to scroll down here, these are the fields that are available in this grid, and I'm going to find I have a user-defined field out here, and I'm going to add this by double-clicking it, or I could have highlighted it and drag it to the screen. And in my user-defined field, I just populated it with the customer number for an example. But this could be whatever you use your user-defined fields for. And I'm going to give it a name because user-defined field doesn't tell anybody what it is. So I'm going to give it a right-click, and I'm going to choose Column Text, and I'm going to rename this to Category. So we're going to pretend this is a category. And now you can see I've pulled a user-defined field on here. I've renamed it to something that's more logical to my users. And I can drag it up here, and I could group it by this category. So it makes it very easy for me to regroup my orders for the fields that you use. Any of these fields up here, I can rename them simply by right-clicking and choosing Column Text. So if I need to call it something that fits my company better, I can easily change the name. And then when I have all my design done, I can save the layout. Now, if you're a user or customer here and you want to fill back orders, maybe I need to fill them first by the category and then by the item. One of the things that I can do is I can also put fields together to create a stronger group. So up here I can add I'm going to insert a new expression column here. And in my new expression column, I'm just going to call it my group by. So I have my new field I've created here. And if I right-click on here, whoops, I got to right-click up here, I am going to choose my expression editor. Now you can create any fields that you want here. So in your expression editor, you could use quantities or costs or any kind of values here to build out another field to have a different column that's meaningful to you on here. But in this instance here, you can see I've got functions and I've got my operators and I've got all my fields that are on my grid that are out there that I can do calculations, or I can add them together, or I can put together, whatever that may be. So in this instance, I'm going to look for my fields and I'm going to grab my category that I created. And then I'm going to add my plus sign because I want my category, and then I want it to group with my item number. And I'm going to click OK. And you can see here now, this is my user-defined field plus my item number, which could be any kind of category. And I'm going to drag this up here, and I'm going to right-click and fully expand. And now I have grouped them by category, which happens to be by item, and then I have them by the item underneath. So if I wanted to group them by, let's say, even a customer category or an inventory category or something like that, and then I want to do it by item number, this could be a way for me to group them to choose what I'm going to fill for back orders. So down here I can see that all of these items are grouped together here, and here's how they're filling, and maybe I need to move them around because an order is waiting for this particular item, or I have a customer that is guaranteed delivery by a certain time. And it would allow me to choose and use my change quantity. So if I needed to, I can change this quantity and take it away from this person, and I can put it in here and take it away from that person. Or if I know I have enough product of all of this because a truck came in today, I can simply right-click this and choose Fill Back Order. And if I expand that again, I can see that all my back orders were filled. So it makes filling your back orders pretty easy. Now if I want to save this as a group that I permanently use to fill my back orders, again I'm going to come up here and I'm going to choose Layouts. And I'm going to click Save As. And this is going to be my Fill Back Order by Group and Item. So now in my Pic Management, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to, if my screen were closed, and I open up this one, again, I have the same view that is grouped by my group and by my item that makes this very handy for filling back orders. And that's their job. Let's say I have another person in here that they want to take a look at picking the tickets and they want to group them by the customer. So again, I've brought my base screen up for Pic Management. I have all of my orders up here, and I want to turn on my group by, and now I want to group them by my customer. So I'm going to drag my customer up here, and I'm going to expand that, and I want to save this layout. So I'm going to come up here to Layout, and I'm going to save this as Pick Tickets. So you can see I have two different layouts for two different people, potentially, on how they're going to use this Pic Management Screen. And you'll notice here that I'm just opening and expanding them. And they're going to open it in the different ways that I have saved this layout. Oops, click OK first, and then fully expand. And so I have my default, and I have the different ways that I want to take a look at this. Another thing, when you have your group by panel here, in this particular instance, down here I'm going to go to my grid, and I can turn on footers. So I can have my footer in my main summary, or I do have one down already in my detail because my checkbox is on. When I have my footers turned on, let's say I want to add up my quantities, and I simply come down to the footer area and I put my mouse in here and I right click. If it's numeric, I have options to sum those fields, and then if I'm on a text field, I can right click, and of course you can see I have the min max count, and I can right click and change that there. Again, if you make changes and you want this to be permanent, you want to save the layout so that it will always come up that way. And that is our Pic Management Screen. When you're ready to print your Pic tickets, it's as simple as I can click the box up here, and I can choose all of them, and I can tell them to print. Or if I want to pick and choose, it could be that I'm simply going to come down to my customer 908, or whoever that is. I'm going to print my Pic ticket, and off they're going to go and print in the batch. So I can see here's my Pic ticket print, and I've run it up to screen, and here's all my Pic tickets. And when I close it down, I get the question, did they print okay? And I can say yes or no. I'm going to say yes. And I can see my transactional checkbox that tell me they all printed okay. And I am done in my Pic Management Screen. One of the other areas is we have this Pic Ticket History screen. So in the Pic Ticket History screen, this is a little bit misleading because it's really a reprint Pic tickets. So I can see all the Pic tickets that have been printed that have not been processed through the system. So these are my Pic tickets that are in a print status, and I have the ability to find them. So if a customer calls in, they want to know if the Pic ticket's been printed, I can come in here and I can see by this history that it's printed. And if I need to reprint the ticket because we can't find it, I can simply come in here, check the boxes, and click reprint, and it will print a Pic ticket for me again, making it very easy to do that. That is the Pic ticket processing out of the box in the Agility Explorer. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is the OE Confirm Ship. So OE Confirm Ship is when you want to do simple confirm ship of orders. And again, when I open up the OE Confirm Ship, I can see in here that I have my criteria on the right that lets me set my base. And I can choose if I want to confirm ship 1s or just 4s, because that's my Pic status is 4. And I can click OK. And this is going to bring up the orders that I have in the system that are available to confirm ship. So when I take a look at this again, I don't have a group. So if I wanted to add a group by, I could group it by orders, I could group it by customer, I can group it however is easier to me just by simply adding my group by and then dragging whatever I want to group by up to that column and saving that layout. In this instance here, if I want to, I'm going to ship order number 199 here. So I'm going to come in here, and my quantity to ship is 5 because I didn't process it that way when I picked it. This is a binned item, so it's asking me for a bin, and I can do a lookup for my bins, or maybe it's not a binned item. Oh, this is not a binned item, and I don't have any quantity on hand. We won't ship this one. in here, this is my BK. We'll ship this item from this order. This is a binned item, and I can look at my bins. I have 5 to ship here, and I can pick my bin. If it is a lotted item, I can do a lookup here. This item happens to not be a lot. And when I'm ready, I have all my items selected on my grid, and I click Confirm Ship. And again, I get my transaction checkbox, so I know what transactions were done, and it's going to tell me how many lines were processed, and I click OK. And that is Confirm Shipping. You'll notice in the Confirm Ship screen, I can open up an order. If I have a question on it, I can go look at the location, the item master, the fill back order, and when I open up the order, it's opening up the same order dialog that it did before when we were in the order status. It pulls up the same screen, and I can see all the information about that order. Same thing if I want to look at the item. If I'm going to come in here and I'm going to look at the item master, it's going to pull up the item master dialog box, and I can see anything I need for the information on the item master and the location. I can also fill back orders from here if I wish to process them at the Confirm Ship screen instead of at the picking stage, because I may be someone that doesn't print my pick tickets, and I could fill back orders from here and then just go straight to a Confirm Ship from here. We do have the ability to confirm bill, and it works the same as the Confirm Ship. So I'm going to close the Confirm Ship screen, and the next thing we're going to move on to is the order billing. So in the order billing, I need to go confirm ship some more orders. So let's go confirm ship some orders here. And I'm going to pull up let's see. Now you would probably do this more by order than by item. I know I have a bin here called 101 for all my items. You would put your actual bin in. This is my actual bin. And I do want to confirm ship all of these items. So I have them selected, and I'm going to confirm ship them. And now if I go back to my order billing and I click my refresh, I can see that my order status changed to a 7, and they're now ready to be billed orders. So in my order billing here, I have several ways that I can process my order billing. Again, I can group this. So if I need to break down my order billing and do it in the different criteria, I can add a group by. I can use that group by to segregate this and do different billing. I'm going to bill this in 2 different batches. So I'm going to select a couple of orders here, and if I wanted to select everything and bill it all at once, I just check the box and I'm going to bill all of them at once. There's no selecting order by order by order, which can save you tremendous amounts of time if you have a lot of orders that you process daily. So I don't want to select everything because I'm going to show you a couple ways to do this. So I'm going to select my 3 top orders. Here's 86, 89, and 106. And when I click my billing button, it's going to ask me a question. Do I want to invoice? So I have the option right now to invoice this at the same time as I'm billing it. So I can print my invoice, and it will invoice it and take it to a status 9, and I've saved a complete step and bypassed it, and I don't have to go into the separate menu item to select to bill this order. In this instance, I'm going to say no, I don't want to invoice it. I'm just going to bill it. So I'm going to take it from a status 7 to a status 8 for all these orders at once, and you'll notice they disappeared. If I open up my OE order invoice, I'll notice there's my 86, there's my 89, and there's my 106 orders. They're now in my OE order invoice here, ready to invoice. And when you're ready to invoice the orders here, again, I can select them all at once. I can select a couple of them and I can unselect the ones I don't want to process, and then I choose my Invoice button. And it's going to pop my invoice up to screen. For you, it would go straight to your printer, and it's going to process them off. I'm just displaying to the screen so you can see they're printing the invoice. And I can see my transaction happened, and those orders are now invoiced, and they're waiting to be posted. So let's pop back to my OE order billing screen, and these are the orders that I have available to bill. And in this order billing screen, you're going to notice that I have bold columns, and those bold columns are telling me I can edit these fields. So if I need to make changes to my freight amount, to my miscellaneous amount, if I want to add comments that are going to update to this order, I simply enter in what I want that to be before I have this selected to bill. So I'm going to choose a couple of other orders here, and they're in a status 7, and you'll notice that they are 114 and 116. And when I click billing, I'm going to say yes. And all the orders that I have selected, not only did they go to an invoice, or change it to be invoiced, it actually did the invoice. It printed the invoice, and again, it would go straight to my printer, and off they would go, and I would have 2 steps done in one. So not only can I bill them all at once, if I want to, I can invoice them all at once without having to go order by order by order, and save you guys a ton of time billing and invoicing. So now if I come over here to my order invoice and I refresh my screen, you'll notice just the 2 that I didn't invoice the first time, and my 114 and 116 isn't in this screen because it's already been invoiced and it's at a status 9, waiting for it to be posted in Macola. Another cool tool that is in our order billing is how many times when you have to void an invoice do you have to go into Macola, you have to go walk through the fake reprint, and then you have to say, no, it didn't print okay. We have, let me close these out, an order invoice void. So here I can see all my orders that are in a status 9, they've been printed, they're waiting to be posted, and here they are sitting here. There's all the ones that I invoiced through, and I want to void it because I need to make changes and I need to go back. So I can very simply select this, whichever ones I need, void invoice, and it's now back to a status 8. I don't have to go fake print it and then come back to it and do it again. So it saves me a lot of time and a tree or two, hopefully. Okay, the next thing that we're going to take a look at is we have in here some dashboards for order entry. So if you come into the planning and forecasting area, we have an executive dashboard up here. And in the executive dashboard here, this is just a base sample of dashboards that can be created. These are probably going to be migrated out in 566, so the dashboards that they apply to are in the area that they do apply to make it easier for people to get to them. But in here I have my executive dashboard, and I can see I have an AR aging. So anything that's been invoiced and processed through order entry, I can see right in here. I have an order aging KPI, so how old are my orders, and because I'm in a demo database that's just a test database, I have some very old orders. And then I have some nice order sales history grid down here. I'm going to drag this off here, and this is more like a real customer screen where you actually have some value to the dashboard and you can see your year-over-year history of your orders. You have probably a better aging and a better executive dashboard. So the next thing that we'll take a look at in our dashboard is we have an OE daily order calendar here. In my daily calendar, this is really cool because I can choose what orders I want to see, and I click OK. And again, I don't have a ton of data in here, But very easily here, I have calendars that can, if I hold my mouse over here, it shows me what did I book today, what's promised, what's requested, and in your live database you would see what got invoiced that day, and each day I can go through and I can see those values here. And you'll notice if I click on my booked orders here, I get a list of the orders that are booked down here. And I can change that to each day, and I can see the detail of what's pulling for those booked and promised orders. Again, if you're in a live company, it's going to have a lot more value because your screen's going to look like this. And I can see my booked, invoiced, requested, shipped, and I get a lot of value out of this calendar for the day-by-day transactions that happen. The next area, there is a customer aging graph here, and I'm going to show you this particular screen here where when you open up your customer aging under your customer service here, I have a customer aging here, and I can get the aging, you'll notice, of each of my accounts. And one other thing that is easily available here is the ability to export this to Excel. So if I'm a customer service person and someone has called in and say, hey, I'm not sure what I owe, or I'm questioning this balance, can you send me this? I can pull up the information and I can drill into whatever it is they owe. Pick the wrong one. Let's pick this one. And I can get more detailed. And I can see their customer aging here on the screen in a graph, and then down below I have the detail. I have my export button here that I can very easily export the detail to Excel, and then off I can go to email the customer and say, hey, here's all your invoices and your payments and your credits. So it makes it very easy to manage any information for their customer account and what their invoices are and what their balances are. All right, the other thing, we have a customer AR aging pivot. So we have a pivot table in here, and in my pivot table here I have a graph above and I have some detail down below of my customers, and when I click on the customer, that of course will show me the graph of the particular aging, and obviously we need to send somebody out to collect some past due invoices. But basically you can see here that as I click on my pivot table, it's going to change and display for whichever customer I have. So if for some reason here I want to drag and drop my category or other fields that I may have on here, I can drag them in and expand my pivot table for whatever that field is, and that would display here. So here is a better customer aging pivot that has a little more detail and data in it that's a little more realistic looking. So with that, we've covered a base of what's in the standard order entry processing out of the box and some of the reporting that's out there.